I'd like to acknowledge we're on the Barapa Nation country here. There's over 90% of wetlands in Australia are actually on family farms. The Wetlands Working Group are bringing water onto farms, onto these wetlands. If we want to recreate and regenerate the environment out there, then it should be done on farms. Creates oases for flora and fauna that normally would die out in droughts. It creates a wonderful place to go and to learn from and to soak up from a mental health perspective. There's a lot of different ways that wetland out there is being very beneficial, not just to us personally in some sort of warm fuzzy feeling. It's actually practical and it's economic to rehabilitate wetlands on farms as well. My name's Don Hearn, and together with my lovely wife Jo, we own and run a property called Restdown, which is 1,100 acres, certified organic farm. We run Hereford beef cattle and also have a vineyard and a winery. And a big part of our farm is a 60-acre wetland that we have here as well.
It's a very peaceful part of the property. It's somewhere where we can go to sit, to contemplate, meditate, think about life, and really feel at peace. Both Don and I feel a really strong connection to that part of the farm. We will go down there and just watch the bird life coming in, or we'll admire the plants and how they've grown, since a flood, or just observing nature, I guess. It really feels like our little secret corner of the world. Going back in time about 17 or 18 years ago, getting toward the end of the millennium drought, that part of our farm was a dry, barren creek bed. Funnily enough, it was a place that Don and I used to love going walking in the evenings. Again, for mental health reasons, we thought it would be great to allow other people to take those walks as well. So we started to think about how we could restore that part of the farm, because Don remembered it being flooded in the 70s, being full of wildlife and plant life. Sounds like a crazy plan in the middle of the worst drought in recorded history. The seed for that restoration started back then, and it's been a gradual process. When we did finally get some water to come down into the wetland, it was like a rebirth, I guess. It was definitely felt like a new beginning. We saw the potential for the wetland to become part of our business in terms of something for people to do when they came to the cellar door. But by and large, it just felt like the right thing to do, to be restoring that part of the landscape. And once the water started coming in, it was like the fulfilment of that vision that we'd had. We have learnt so much, and I think by tapping into the expertise and the scientific knowledge and guidance that the working group have given us, the whole ecosystem out there we now have a much broader understanding of because of that partnership that we've got. And not to mention the beautiful people that we've met along the way who are part of the working group. The Wetlands Working Group was key to setting up the interpretive signage as well, having that knowledge bank to tap into. We had our knowledge, and then we were able to bring in the scientific knowledge from the working group. So we're presenting really accurate information to people. We've got people coming on guided walks here now on a regular basis. So we've got all that information that we can present. Yeah, so it's been a brilliant partnership, really. Once we got some water into the wetland, then of course the changes started to happen. The relationship helped us track that, I guess, getting some data, some facts about what plants and animals were out there. So all that guidance was really important because we didn't have that knowledge. So there's an overlap between what's happening in the wetland and what we're doing business-wise here at the cellar door, with tourism and visitors coming for lunch and wine tasting. So yeah, it really feeds into our business as well. That's a good thing because everything works together.
As farmers, when you start thinking about these things, you think, oh, well, that means I'm going to have to shut up that part of my farm and the cattle are going to be shut out of it. That's actually not correct. We have an arrangement with the Wetlands Working Group that when the wetland is dry, and particularly over summer, we're allowed to bring our cattle in. And it's actually because we brought cattle in the early days, purely as a fertility tool, it helped regenerate that wetland area much faster. Our wetland is actually our haystack. We don't make hay anymore on the farm. And we carve out our girls at the end of March, early April, and we rotate the girls through that wetland area, and they get all the nutrition for that calf that develops in the last 2 months before it's born. And the cows are at their optimum health just at the point of calving, because we are now using the wetland as part of our nutrition program for the farm. So economically, the wetland is working for us as well, and we're saving money by not having to make hay. We are now part of a group of farms in this area called the BioLink program. We are definitely looking of ways that regenerative farming can be recognised for carbon sequestration, because we can sequester carbon at the same time as producing food to feed the growing population as well. I think I'm probably a better farmer on the rest of the farm because of what I've learnt out there in the wetland. It's something that I can care for in a very tangible way. On top of the normal duty of care and animal welfare that we do on the farm, the wetland is a little bit different because it has that capacity for bringing different sort of meaning to day-to-day life out here.
I think just having that space to go down to go and meditate. So for me, I just love being able to do that down there. I can really feel part of something bigger than myself, I guess, when I'm down there. We know that that part of the farm was once home to an Indigenous settlement. They were living there almost permanently, we think. And I feel like there's an evolutionary connection with that as well, that, you know, Don and I are now living here and respecting that place just as the Indigenous people did. So just that connection to country. We've felt a lot of respect from the local Indigenous people who've come out and had a look at that space, and they're really grateful for what we've done out there to make sure that that corner of the land is protected and conserved. So we feel like it's important work. We certainly want to make sure that continues into the future. It's our little bit of work to do in that reconciliation space to show the respect that we feel for the people that came before us here. It's important to us.
I think having that greater understanding that we are really just continuing the care of this landscape that people have been caring for arguably 60,000 years. The Murray River Delta system never dried out, which was what we're part of here. So there's permanent water in the landscape, there's permanent civilisation as well. The Indigenous cultural artefacts and history that are in our 60-acre wetland, which used to be home to a camp of Barrapa people. So I think understanding that we are really just continuing the caring of something that has been going on for tens of thousands of years gives a different purpose, different meaning. Yeah, I think maybe I'm probably a better person because of that. We look at everything very holistically on the farm. The lessons we learnt in regenerating that wetland, we now apply to the rest of the farm. We're running more cattle than we've ever run, and they're healthier than they've ever been, and we have much more biodiversity on the place because of it. So from an economic perspective, yeah, that's really important. That wetland has given us that gift of knowledge. Every farmer watching this will know that there are times when they get tough, and having something positive to be able to spend time out there in a natural environment where you can just clock off, even just grab a beer and go and sit on a bench and be in a wetland, and the world actually is a lot better after you've done that for an hour. Yeah, there's a lot of good things. Working with an organisation who can bring expertise and water to our particular farm, that's the sustainable thing. That's what's going to make this wetland keep improving and be here permanently going forwards.
I'd just like to really reiterate how important the partnership has been with the working group. We couldn't have done what we've done without their assistance. I think our appreciation and love of that space is greater than it would have been if we hadn't been able to work in partnership with the Wetland Working Group. That's been pivotal to us enjoying the experience and appreciating the real beauty of that space.